I want to talk about lighter than air. We'll try this again. Okay. I'm interested in how you went from Goodyear, where you were working in Goodyear, when you first heard about, okay, lighter than air. And did you know anything about it ahead of time?
No, I was unacquainted with it, but it just
how did you first hear about it then? Like, I mean, how did you first learn that Goodyear was open for jobs, or they were gonna start the project?
Well, of course, there was big news, you know, that
in the paper and everything.
These two big airships for the Navy, and so there was a lot of news about it. And Goodyear said, well, you know, they started organizing and putting an organization together.
I see.
To do it, and so.
And what were you doing at that point? What was your job at that point?
I was secretary to a general foreman in the tire factory, Bill Ugalit.
And as a secretary, you would do what a secretary does? I mean, type stuff up and...
And
that's what Goodyear hired you.
Yes.
As a secretary.
Secretary.
Right. Male secretaries then were popular.
Oh yes, it was. You know, the big shots all had male secretaries.
Right.
And, you know, and I could take shorthand, 112 words a minute.
Right.
And you know, type. I don't know how fast I could type, but no problem.
And how old were you?
Well, I went to Goodyear in 1926. I was 18. Well, actually 3 days before my 18th birthday, I started Goodyear. I was 18. And this was.
And this was what
20,
year?
About 29, so I'd be 21.
The year I was born. And you were married?
Yes. Yeah, I was married. And so I transferred. It sounded like a thrilling job, you know, lighter than air.
Right, sure, like working on future flight or something like that.
Oh yeah,
sure.
Thrilling, you know.
Right.
So I thought, well, I'd like to get into that.
So where were you first located when you started, when this project opened?
Where were you first located?
Well, we started started building an organization down at Goodyear up on the 7th floor of one of the office buildings there. We had a department, you know, getting things together. And then when they got things ready, they transferred over to the rim plant. They had
Where was that located? Is that what they call Plant 2? Or?
That's beyond Plant 2 on Cyberling Street there.
Yeah,
you know?
still, there's a rim plant still there.
There's still a rim plant there, yeah.
And so you moved over there, closer to where the air dock would be.
We weren't out at the air dock.
Well, I know, but closer to where it would be.
Oh yeah, closer to the air dock.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because it was over by the airport.
Yeah.
Was the airport there then? Was that Akron Airport?
Oh yes, yes, it was there. Yeah, that was there. Yeah, and so they had, you know, built a hangar, and that was interesting to see the construction of that, you know, as it went up. And
was there a lot of publicity about that building as being a big building?
Oh yes, that was tremendous publicity, you know, real interest because it was the biggest building without interior supports.
Right.
And see, the ship itself was the air dock was 1,200 feet long and 212 feet high.
Yeah.
And the ships, the two big ships were 785 feet long.
Yeah. And
so when you start, if you take and look at your street, and you start going well, the length of the ship, say 785 feet. If you start looking at how many lots that would be and how long that would be, boy, that's big.
Yeah.
And
so you started working on it at 29, in 1929, and you hadn't actually seen a dirigible or in person.
I don't think I had actually seen one.
Right.
I don't remember whether there might have been one that flew over Akron sometime. That I might have seen it.
And you saw pictures in
America had some dirigibles.
You saw pictures in magazines and or newspaper, newsreels. Probably. So from that 29 until the thing was actually built, how long a period of time was that approximately?
I would imagine it was 2.5 to 3 years before we actually got the first
Was that exciting as you got closer to the time when?
Probably about 2 years before we actually got the first ship.
Was it exciting when you got closer to the time and you realized you were going to see
Oh,
what you had
yeah.
worked on and everything?
Yeah, it was.
And you changed positions along the way. I mean, you went from being a secretary, which you went over there.
Yeah, I just worked into really engineering, you know.
And got some more training, you said.
Yeah, I went to Goodyear Industrial University and took a lot of things over there. They gave high school credits over there, and but I went over there and took a lot of things, you know, and in the way of engineering and mechanical drawing and so on, you know, because I had no mechanical drawing. Mm-hmm. I had no algebra even. I took first and second year of algebra over there and aerostatics. So it was
like a little advanced college for you a little bit.
Oh yes. So I did that because I liked that work.
And you said that for one of the dirigibles, then your job was to order the engines.
Oh, on the second one.
Which one was that then?
The Macon.
Macon?
When it came to ordering the engines, why they told me to order the engines. See, so I wrote the order for the engines. It was to Germany, and I remember it came to $144,000. You know, and that was the biggest order that I had written.
Right.
You know, and that was something, you know, $144,000.
It was a lot of responsibility, though.
Oh, there was.
Sure.
Yeah. The orders, heat treating orders for parts of the ship, I wrote all of those, and they would go either to Goodyear or outside if Goodyear couldn't do it, and had to be according to Navy specifications, you know.
You were working on a government contract.
Oh yeah, Navy contract, and so it had all material, you know, had to be the Navy, and you had Navy specifications that you had to look to get what were they going to do on this heat treating, you know, certain materials and certain things that you wanted in that material as to how it was heat treated. And so I wrote those orders. And
so were they building the ship at the air dock? Where was the ship actually built?
Yeah, they were all built at the air dock.
At the air dock.
Right. Yeah, they were built at the air dock.
Now there was a air dock at one of the lakes around here, wasn't there?
Goodyear.
Wingfoot Lake.
Wingfoot Lake.
There was a smaller dock there,
right? Hangar there for blimps.
For blimps.
Yeah.
Okay, because they were already building blimps, right?
Well, they had the one, you know, as I said, the Pilgrim.
Well, tell about that.
And
tell about that blimp.
It was a very small one. Had just the cabin. On the back of the cabin was a pusher motor, see, right on the back of the cabin. And about, I think 2 people, maybe 3, I'm not sure.
That's pretty small.
But very small, and didn't have that much lift, you know.
So they'd already built that.
Yes, it was built, flying around, you know. And then they decided that they would build a fleet of blimps. So we put in orders. We built 5 blimps for Goodyear. They were bigger, like maybe not quite as big as the ones they have now. But the biggest one was the Defender, and it would take about 8 or 9 people. And so we built a fleet of 5 blimps, and then at the same time we were starting building.
Were they flying out of the hangar or out of Litchfield?
They flew from, some were stationed here, but they stationed them around the country in various places.
Were those for the Navy too?
No, those were Goodyear, for advertising.
I see.
For advertising.
They still have a fleet.
Oh yeah, they only have what, three of them now, or 4. They have one in Europe. I think they have 3 in the United States now and 1 in Europe. And,
so when did you actually? I mean, you had mentioned before. I've heard stories that you've told about being on the ground crew of one of the ships. How did that happen?
I was on the ground crew for both of them. Well, what they would do, they would get people from Goodyear Zeppelin Corporation and have them serve on the ground crew.
I see.
Now, as I mentioned, or as I was saying, at that time,